Coach joins us now. Hi, Coach. How are you?
Hi, guys. What was it? Is it on the list?
No, it didn't. His miss did not make it. But imagine if Gordon makes that shot. Where does that rank in greatest college basketball moments of all time?
Well, it would have been the one that I would have thought was the greatest. That would have ranked that for sure. But no, I mean that would have been pretty unbelievable. It was an unbelievable run as it was. But I think that would have been something else.
But did you what was called in the huddle? So there's a timeout, there's a missed free throw, and then he grabs it. But was there anything planned by you in that moment?
So we had used our last timeout on the baseline because Duke did a great job of denying us on a play before. So we had to use our last timeout. We got it into Gordon, and he ended up taking about a 10 or 12-foot shot on the baseline. That was a really well-defended, tough shot. So we had actually used our last timeout when we had fouled Duke. And so they came down. They made the first. They missed the second. And had they made the second, we had an action that I believe we had called line that we were going to get into with 3.7 or 3.5 seconds left, whatever it was. But our guys were actually aware enough to run the meat of it off of the live ball, and I think it just speaks to the intelligence level and the savvy of that team. And so, it was basically to get the ball on the fly, going towards our hoop with momentum towards our hoop, which was really obviously impossible when you have to get a rebound first, and then to space appropriately and to free up the guy with the ball with a pick at right around mid-court or so, which obviously Matt Howard did, and that's been argued whether that's a foul or not. But but at the end of the day, it was pretty close to going in.
From your angle, did it look good?
You know what? I don't even know if I had time to process that. I did not think it looked good because I didn't, from my angle, it looked like it was long. But I can't, obviously I couldn't tell the angle as much as the depth. So, I didn't know if it was going to be able to careen off the backboard and go in or not. But it just looked like it was a little deep. But he obviously had the perfect angle, and we couldn't have had a better guy with the ball. And it was a 1 in a million shot, but he's so good he almost hit it.
He's Brad Stevens, Celtics head coach, former Butler head coach, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Best sporting event in history, in your opinion, that you attended or watched?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. That's a hard question. I mean, I've been lucky to be at some big moments. Especially like in college basketball, I was fortunate enough to obviously coach in them with Butler. I remember when I was in college, I went and sat at the top of the RCA Dome in Indianapolis and watched Princeton backcut UCLA to beat UCLA in the 90s. I think that I could go through a long list of Indiana high school basketball games that I attended throughout all the different state tournaments. That would probably be at the top of my list with regard to how exciting the gyms felt, how fun it was, everything else. But I've only been alive since 1976, so I didn't get to experience some of those great moments you mentioned earlier. I went and saw the Jesse Owens movie, which was incredible, and certainly. I think those are the moments that are the most important because of not only the how it stirs you as a sports fan, but what it means in the big picture.
Did you know Peyton Manning at all? Get to see any of the games when you were coaching Butler?
I did. I got a chance to meet Peyton and spend time with Peyton towards the end of his career at when he was with the Colts and I was at Butler, and the story that I always tell about Peyton was he was nice enough to invite me to a June OTA session. So their off-season training activities when they could have the whole group in. I don't even know if they can still do that or not, but I went there at 8 in the morning and went to the quarterbacks meeting, sat in on the quarterbacks meeting, which Peyton had the remote control for the whole time. He had the film dropped off the night before and had gone over things. And I remember just being in awe of his preparation. This is crazy. This is what they were watching. It was June. He was a 4-time MVP, and they were watching a person that was videoing just a coach snapping the ball to Peyton, who was doing stretch play handoffs with their running backs. And so they were watching all of the quarterbacks time up the stretch play in June. And one of the running backs, and I don't even remember who it was, but one of the running backs kind of was going through it at 80%. And Peyton stops the video and just says, just really politely to the coaches that are in the room, hey, make sure that these guys understand that we have to go game speed to prepare these three guys right here. And, all the quarterbacks face down taking notes and they're listening like it's, the Bible. And I'll never forget it. I mean, here's a 4-time MVP.
And it's June.
And that's what he's paying attention to in June. How about that? So I spent the whole day. I was lucky enough to be in their meetings after that. I was lucky enough to be in the huddle because they were, as long as you stood near Peyton, you weren't going to get touched. Obviously by the guys that were rushing and everything else when they were doing some of their drills.
Best team you faced this year is who? Or is that an obvious answer?
You know what? I think that there are so many good teams, but I don't think you can, I don't think it's fair to say that what, anything but what Golden State is doing is so incredible because of the amount of pressure they're playing with in every single game. Although I will say this, I thought that the Cleveland team we played on Saturday night was about as good as we played against on a given night.
Can you teach Golden State style?
Yeah, I think that the style is one thing, right? I mean, I think the style is, hey, there are different ways to be successful playing basketball, but it comes down not to necessarily the X's and O's, but to have who you've got in those X's and O's running that style. I mean, if Golden State were playing a 3-out, 2-in, throw it in the post, space away, and be stagnant offense, it wouldn't be as good as it is. But they're playing a 5-out, running all over, multiple picks, multiple actions, and oh, by the way, they've got two guys that can shoot to 30 feet. That's a problem. And so I think it's not about necessarily the style, it's about who's in it. And then the style becomes important. So you can run the style. Anybody can run that style, but I don't know that you're going to drop kick in balls from 35 feet the way they do.
Did you get Kobe Bryant anything?
I didn't. I don't know him. I've only been in the league 2 or 3 years, and I've obviously got a lot of respect for him. My Kobe Bryant story is that my high school teammate was recruited by LaSalle, whose assistant coach at the time was Jelly Bean Bryant, his dad, and my high school teammate was a couple years older than Kobe, and so when he went as a freshman, I called him and said, how are the open gyms, how's everything going? He said, well, we're okay, but this guy, this high schooler that's in here is just dominant. He was a sophomore or junior in high school at the time, so that was the first time I heard about Kobe, and he really, hasn't stopped dominating since.
Well, you picked a good time to go into the league with Kobe going out of the league, so.
yeah. Well, I think obviously, the one thing about this league is there are always the next generation of great young players ready to have their moment, and what they can learn from the older players is really important, and how they go about studying those older players are really important. I can't imagine the game being in better shape, though, with regard to that next crew of superstars that are leading this game. It's really a unique, really savvy, fun group of players.
When I watch your team, I want you to guess which player I love watching on your team. There's one guy that I think any team would want to have. Who do you think that is?
Well, I don't know. I really like them all. Like I really enjoy our team, and I really enjoy our locker room. We still have a long way to go, but
I'm just talking about
we're in
me.
the right path. You tell me who is it?
Jay Crowder.
Yeah, I mean, I think people. I probably would have guessed that, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to swing and miss first and foremost, and then I didn't want to single out Jay. I think people like the combination of savvy, the level to which he's improved, which clearly demonstrates a good work ethic, and then just kind of the effort plays, and I think that the different types of plays that lead to winning. You can't always quantify what they mean in that moment, but the adrenaline that he gives our team is pretty important.
Can you beat anybody on the team right now in shooting contest?
No, I'm not even in the ballpark with these guys. We do have a couple of guys on our staff that are, though, and but we have, I think Avery and Isaiah would probably win a lot of the shooting contests, although a couple of our bigs might give them a run for their money on a given day.
Well, you've done a great job this year. Congrats on your success, and thanks for joining us and sharing the stories.
All right. Take care, Dan. Have a great day.
That's Brad Stevens, Celtics head coach.